Good day, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me here on One-on-One with Obaa. This is a show that will delve into the lives of people in the diaspora. Have you ever wondered what they're doing? What people who are living abroad are actually doing? Well, today I am about to introduce to you a very important young man. He is fabulous. I mean, I came across his page on Instagram while he was dancing. He posts a lot of dancing videos. The way he dresses stands out, and that's how he came in mind. He has a story to tell, and I am so delighted to be sitting here with him today. I'd like to introduce to you all Mr. Africa. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you sitting here with me. Many people know you on social media with your dancing skills, the way you dress, always dapper.
Thank you.
You seem quite shy.
Yeah, a little bit shy.
A little shy.
I'm okay.
What really intrigued me to want to reach out to you is when I saw your GoFundMe page. It moved me because I had no idea that you had sickle cell. So today, it's open. Let's talk about this disease that's affecting so many lives across the globe. First of all, what is your real name?
My real name is Emmanuel, Awuah, but people know me as Mr. Africa.
Okay. And you grew up in Ghana?
Yes, please.
Okay. And at what age did you come to America?
I came here at the age of 14.
14.
Yeah.
So when did your parents discover that you had sickle cell? Was it in Ghana or when you transitioned here?
They discovered that when I was in Ghana.
In Ghana.
At the age of 2 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, they took me to the hospital. I had an ear infection, and that was when the doctor said that I have sickle cell.
Wow.
Yeah.
Age 2. That must have been tough for your parents.
Very.
Yeah. So let's go right into your transition from Ghana to here. When you came, your pediatrician office, like how did they come about to find a solution for you in dealing with this disease?
Well, my doctor, Dr. Magrela, had to recommend me to a hematologist.
Which is a blood specialist?
Yes, blood specialist. And his name is actually Dr. Grabowski.
Okay.
So Dr. Grabowski had to recommend me to another person. Her name was Dr. Bonikova.
Okay.
Dr. Bonikova was the one that actually discovered this whole solution for me about the transplant. So she told me about it, and I decided that, you know what, I'll look into it.
Okay.
So yeah.
What was the final draw that made your parents adamant in saying that they are going to follow through with this stem cell transplant?
I think the main reason why they wanted to go ahead with the transplant was because of the crisis that I was having. I've been having crisis since age 2, and it's never stopped, so they decided to look into something that will help me.
Wow.
And that was why they made that decision. My mom actually made that decision because she was always taking care of me. She has been very supportive.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back a little bit. Your name, Mr. Africa, where did that come from?
Mr. Africa, I got it from high school.
High school?
Yeah, so the first time I went to high school, I told them my name, Emmanuel, Awuah, but they couldn't pronounce my name right, and they were always messing it up. So they started calling me Africa, Africa, because I'm from Africa, Ghana. And I came back the next day to school, and I actually liked the name, so I said, why not? Just add Mr. to it and make it Mr. Africa.
A young man, and then your peers are calling you Mr.
Yeah.
That speaks a lot. Okay, that's nice. So how old are you right now? Like, what's your age, if you don't mind me going there?
I'm 25.
25 years old?
Yes, please.
Wow. So the journey from since age 2 till now,
yeah,
you've finally been able to find a solution.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this stem cell, transplant. What is the process? How do they identify who can go and get the transplant and who doesn't?
So before the transplant, I had to go through different types of process. I had to go through dental process and also just regular medical process. Did you say
dental process?
Yeah. They have to make sure that you don't have any cavities or you don't have any wound in the teeth.
Wow.
Yeah, so they had to make sure of that. And also, regarding the medical process, they have to make sure your organs are healthy enough to function well and healthy enough to handle all the medications that they'll be giving you.
Interesting. So they put you on medication before the transplant?
Well, no, they don't put your medications before the transplant. What they do is they just want to make sure, get clearance.
Okay.
Yeah, they have to get medical clearance from all your other doctors that everything is fine, can go ahead.
Okay.
So that was what they did.
So finally, you went through the process.
Yes.
Your organs are good and strong.
Yeah.
You've been approved
Yeah.
by the doctors, and I'm sure your insurance had, as far as I know, the GoFundMe page was created.
Yeah.
So this probably cost a lot of money.
Yes, I actually did. My transplant, personally, mine cost $800,000.
$800,000.
Yes.
Dollars.
Yes, but then the transplant itself in America ranges from $450,000 to $800,000.
Wow.
But mine was $800,000.
And this is something that an individual would have to pay out of pocket, or does insurance cover?
Well, sometimes insurance will cover, sometimes they will not. The doctor has to label the transplant as emergency, or wouldn't label it that way. So mine was labeled as emergency.
Okay.
So that's how I came in with the GoFundMe page, because $800,000, the insurance decided to cover some of it, and the rest I had to get it on my own.
Wow. Okay, so we've gone through the test. You've been cleared.
Yeah.
To go through with the stem cell transplant. Where do you go about finding, you need a donor, obviously.
Yeah.
So where do you begin?
So regarding a donor, I had to reach out to my sisters, because I knew that I have, sisters that can help. Because the doctor told me that the donors have to come from my family.
Family, okay.
Yeah. So I reached out to them, and they told me, they are willing to do it, because they want to see me do good and feel better. So I told my doctor, and they gave me like stuff testing instruments, like swabs and stuff like that. So January 2017, I took all those stuff from the doctors. March 2017, I went to Ghana, because my sisters lives in Ghana.
Okay.
I went to Ghana and I gave it out to them. They did all their testing, and after they were done, I flew back to America, gave it to the hospital. They did all their testing, and after their testing, they said they couldn't find any match.
How many sisters?
4.
Actually, 4. They tested 4 sisters.
They can't find
and there was
match.
no match.
No match.
That's amazing. And when you got that result that there was no match, what was going through your mind?
Well, at that point, I was a little bit scared, but I didn't believe it. I didn't believe that out of 4 sisters, you're telling me there's no match. So I told them to do it again, to rerun the whole thing again. Yeah. So a week later, they reached out to me and told me that my other sister is actually a half match, but she's not a full match. And if I'm okay with it. And I said, if it's gonna work, why not? Go ahead.
You keep saying you believed.
Yeah.
You knew. You had this strong faith.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your faith. Where do you get that inspiration and that strength from?
Well, my faith, I was born into Christ. Okay, I was born into a Christian home.
Okay.
So every time we pray a lot, and they've always put into us that we have to believe what we say or what we see all the time. So I've always believed in God that, nothing is gonna happen. I'll just go ahead with it. So that was how my faith came about it.
Wow.
And also, regarding that, I always read the book of Psalm.
Okay.
Yeah, all the time. And that's what kept me going.
Okay.
Prayers still kept me going.
All right, so let's talk about the process. You found a donor. Finally, they said they had a match, you said?
Yes, a match. Half match.
Half match from one of your sisters.
One of my sisters. They need a full match, but they have a half match. But they want to make it work, and I said, why not?
They need a full match.
Yeah.
What do you mean by a full match and a half a match?
So they need a full match. Everything will go fine. Will go great. But the half match is 50% chance. 50% chance I'll survive or I won't.
Was she a half match because of, what was the reason why she?
I think it was because of the numbers.
There's something, okay.
Yeah, in the medical field, I think it's because of the numbers, and I don't know what it is.
Okay, but she was definitely half match, and the doctor said yes, she can.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the procedure and the process. So after they said that, what's the next step?
After they said that, August 20th, that was the first day that we went into the hospital to do all the procedures. They gave me a room, and they were getting me prepared for my cells to be destroyed, because they have to destroy my cells. So I went through chemotherapy. They had to destroy my whole cells to get me ready for my sister's cells.
For those of you who don't know what sickle cell anemia is, it's a disease that's inherited. It's a blood, hemoglobin disease that affects the red blood cells. So it's when the red blood cell becomes sickled shape. So it's not able to hold as much oxygen as it should to be able to carry it to various organs in the body. So when it becomes sickled, that's when crisis happen and you're in excruciating pain. I mean, no amount of, can you describe that? Can you just let people understand what that pain feels like?
Yeah, the sickle cell pain, it's like millions of ants eating you up alive.
Jeez.
Because the pain is not just in the body, it's in the bone. So even if you try to, use maybe ice pack or something, it's not going to work unless you get the pain medications that they give us usually. It's either Dilaudid or oxycodone. Heavy
yeah.
Or you have to get blood transfusions. And for me, I get blood transfusions every 2 months.
Every 2 months?
Yeah, and it's not 1 unit of blood, sometimes 2 or 3. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I'm sure you guys, wherever you're watching from, understand or have heard people or know of someone who's experiencing or who has experienced sickle cell crisis. Is really painful and difficult to watch a loved one go through it. Let's talk about that process. So you got into the hospital, surgery is set. So is your sister in the same hospital as you? And what are they doing to her and what are they doing to you?
Well, I was upstairs. My sister was downstairs where they were getting her ready for surgery. So during my part, as they were destroying everything, my sister was getting ready. They were going to do the bone marrow, and they needed 2 liters of blood from her.
2 liters?
Yeah, that's what they need from her for them to do the transplant.
2 liters?
2 liters, yeah. But they actually ended up taking out more.
So what's more?
They ended up taking out 4 liters.
Double?
Yeah, double, because she had so much blood.
Wow.
Yes, she had so much blood that they needed more, so that just in case, maybe if the transplant rejects, they can go ahead and do the second try.
Wow. How long was the whole procedure? Like from her and to you, how long?
Well, for her, it took, the surgery was 4 hours for her. And for me, getting the blood into me, they said it was going to be 8 hours to take the whole 4 liters into me.
Wow.
Yeah. So it took 8 hours for me and 4 hours for her.
What were the side effects?
Side effects. Well, when it comes to the side effects, I ended up getting a fever. And the fever that I got wasn't a normal fever. Usually a normal fever would be maybe 102, 100, but mine was 111.
111? Yeah. Fever?
Fever.
So what were you at mentally, knowing that your fever was like off the roof?
At that time, to be honest with you, I lost hope because I thought I was going to die. Because there was they had to put so many blankets on me. I had 7 blankets on me. There was a lot of doctors, nurses, making sure I'm okay. That was all the side effects that was happening. And also the other side effects was I had to go to the restroom, and during that I was bleeding. I was bleeding from 1 a.m. to 7 a.m. non-stop.
Really?
And after that I had to get more blood transfusions.
Because you've lost a lot of blood.
Yeah.
Amazing. How long did you stay in the hospital?
I was in the hospital for a month.
For a whole month?
Yeah.
Was your sister in the hospital for that long as well?
No, for her, she was in the hospital for 2 days.
2 days?
Yeah. She was in the hospital for 2 days, but she was in a lot of pains.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I know they had to extract bone marrow from your sister. I mean, literally drilling the marrow out of the bone and give it to you. And her recovery time was only 2 days in the hospital?
2 days in the hospital, and then for her, whole recovery was 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah, 6 months at home. So 2 days in the hospital and just 6 months at home.
And for you, how long was your recovery?
My recovery is 14 months.
14 months?
Yeah.
So, oh wow, 14 months?
Yeah, 14 months.
Over a year?
Over a year, yeah. And even during my transplant, regarding eating, I couldn't really eat well, so every day I had to take 5 liters of milk. They had to change the milk every 8 hours.
The milk was your only source of nutrients?
Yeah, because I can't really eat well. Whenever they bring their food, I can't eat. So I had 2 ports in my chest. One is for blood medications and one is for food. Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, you endured a lot. Emotionally, what was going through your mind during the time when you were in the hospital? The process of you getting the transfusion, was it painful?
The transfusion wasn't painful.
The transfusion wasn't painful?
It wasn't painful.
How did your body react to receiving the blood?
Well, in the beginning, it received it all right, but after that, I was experiencing a lot of complications.
Such as?
Such as the fevers, throwing up, weak.
Like vomiting?
Yeah, and I had more pain. So during my transplant, I was still having sickle cell crisis. During my transplant, before they gave me her blood.
You were still having crisis in the hospital?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. So how do they deal with it? Because how is it done? Like when they're giving you the blood, what's happening to your old blood? Is it being...
It's being destroyed by the chemo and the other medications. Yeah.
Chemo, you were on other medications that were killing your own cells.
Yes, and during that whole transplant, while they destroyed my cells, I had to stay on the medication, the pain meds like Dilaudid and oxycodone for the whole month because I was still in crisis.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you were receiving the blood, were you still on meds?
Yes.
So you just mentioned the Dilaudid, those are pain meds, but were there any additional medications that they had given you while you were receiving the transplant, the transfusion?
Before the transfusion, what they did was they gave me Benadryl, the IV Benadryl.
Yes.
But it made me, not the regular, it didn't put me to sleep, but it actually made me calm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in total, how many medications would you say you were on?
In total, I'm going to say, well, per day I was taking 28 pills per day.
A day?
Yeah, 28.
Yeah. Amazing. Huh, that's a lot. For a young man to go through this emotionally, what was your inspiration to keep going, to keep fighting? I mean, how did you look physically? Were there any changes that happened?
There was a lot of changes. My body changed. I became really, really slim. Also, my color changed. I became very, very dark. My tongue was black.
Black?
Yeah.
When you say black, like the
really,
color black?
Yeah, really, really black. And I had to brush my teeth 3 times a day. There was a lot that I had to do. But the good thing is, during that transplant, my eyes changed from yellow to white.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you literally saw it?
Yeah, I could see it. Like, you could see everything. The moment you get into the mirror, you can see everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
And with the chemotherapy, I'm sure you lost some hair and...
Yeah, I lost a lot of hair, and for it to grow back, it didn't take that long.
It didn't take long?
No, it took about 6 months. I had all my hair back.
So you were basically reborn?
Yeah, reborn.
You were born again?
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. What could you do now, after the whole transplant? What are you physically able to do now that you weren't able to do before?
Before, I couldn't really go to the gym, and I couldn't stay out in the cold for long because in the East Coast we do have a cold climate. So I couldn't stay out for too long. But now I could go to the gym. I'm able to go to the beach, do other things like traveling to other climates. So yeah.
Amazing. The team, your doctors, kudos to them.
Yeah.
They've done an amazing job. Now, is this transplant often? Is it often done?
The transplant gets done like 2 to 4 a year.
They do 2 to 4 transplants a year?
In a year, yeah.
So then, if it's only a year, then there aren't many?
There aren't many because of the donors. Because it's hard to find a donor.
Even within the immediate family, it's still hard?
Yeah, it's still hard to find a donor. Someone can even have more siblings and they cannot find a donor.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're blessed. You've endured a lot. I know it was probably painful, emotionally, mentally, but I'm sure like you said, you draw inspiration from your faith.
Yeah.
What does the future look for Mr. Africa?
Well, for the future, I want to be a sickle cell advocate, and also, God willing, if it's my calling, I want to be a pastor.
Oh.
If it's my calling.
Have you always, I mean, you've talked a lot about your faith. Have you always been spiritual, and did you always know you wanted to be a minister?
Yes, ever since ever since I was a kid, I've always been saying that I want to be a pastor, I want to be a pastor. But now, I think it's time.
I think it's time.
Yeah, if God says I'm the one, I'll go ahead with it.
Amen.
Yeah.
For a young man of 25 years of age, you've endured a lot. And I'm sure many who are watching will draw inspiration from this. A lot of the people in Africa are scared. It's fear.
Yeah.
Fear. It's not easy. And it's a financial burden to go through this. But, you know, for you to come out and share your story, the door is open for you. You said you want to be a sickle cell advocate.
Yeah.
The door is open for you, young man. But before we go, I'd like to bring your sister in here to join us. If it's okay, I want to talk to her about her experience and what she went through, so, you know, especially as a donor. So we'll take a little short break and we'll be back. Welcome back. We have in our midst the lovely sister and elder sister of Mr. Africa, who was the donor, the brave soul who gave donation to her younger brother. Again, we would like to say welcome.
Thank you.
Please, what is your name?
I'm Esther Baba Ladijo.
Okay. And are you the oldest of the family, of the siblings?
No, I'm the third.
You're the third one. So let me ask you a few questions. What did it feel like when you found out that there's possibly a cure for sickle cell?
Well, I was happy when he told me that. He actually told me, I was the first person he told among our siblings.
Okay.
I was so happy when he told me that, and then I asked him, when is the process beginning, and he explained a lot to me.
Wow. So when they came back that you were at the match, what was going through your mind?
Well, it was a mixed feeling.
Yes.
And I was terrified.
Yes.
About the process and everything, but I was happy to give part of my life to him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? God bless you. The fear is real, and I think fear is what keep people back from taking this kind of step. You know, so you've done well. What was the experience like? You know, they said when we say stem cell, you know, donor, what did you go through? I want you to tell me what it felt like when the process and the procedure began.
Well, when I came from Ghana, some few weeks time, we went to the hospital, and then the doctors explained a lot to me about the process and everything, but I was ready, signed the necessary documents and everything. And on the 1st September, the process started, and that was it.
So I'm assuming they put you to sleep, and how they describe it to be? Were they, you know, cutting an open part of the body? How were they going to do the process?
Beginning, that was what I thought.
That's what you thought?
That was what I thought. That made me so scared, but when they explained it to me, it was actually at my back, my lower back.
Okay.
At the pelvis.
Okay.
And it was drilled. They put me to sleep. Actually, it was under a general anesthesia.
Okay.
And they drilled 2 holes at my lower back. And the process took about 4 hours. Before I woke up, I spent a night in the hospital. But everything was okay.
Thank God.
But actually, I went through a lot of pain.
So it's painful.
It was very, very painful. I would say for about 2 nights I couldn't sleep.
Wow.
Couldn't sleep at all. I was sleeping on one side of at the right side of my waist for like 2 days.
Wow, straight.
Yeah.
So they actually drilled a hole into your bone.
Into my
pelvic.
Into the pelvic.
Or the backbone.
The backbone, into the cell to draw
the marrow,
yeah.
to get the bone marrow out of there. And from what your brother had said earlier, they extracted 4 liters of blood instead of 2.
Yeah. When I woke up, they told me
that you had 4.
They actually said it's something like this haven't ever happened before.
Really?
The more they were drawing the blood, more were coming.
Wow.
A lot. They were so happy. They
wow.
were so happy. So that was why they actually took about 2 more liters of the blood.
Amazing. So the whole procedure took how long?
Let's say on the day.
Yeah,
that was about 4 hours.
4 hours of surgery.
Okay.
Let's talk about recovery. Oh, I'm sure it was tough. What was going through your mind when you finally came out and they said it was successful? What were you feeling emotionally, mentally, physically?
I'll say immediately I came out of the anesthesia, I started feeling the pain.
Immediately?
Immediately. I started feeling the pain. I was like, so is this how the whole thing was going to be? Then about 5 minutes, the nurses said, I need to walk. I need to walk. I was even begging them to put me in the wheelchair, but they said, no, I'm too young to be in the wheelchair. I walked. It was terrible. Wow. I was crushing my teeth. I wasn't crying, I was weeping. I was weeping. I would say it was the most painful thing that I've experienced in my entire life.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I'll say.
But you know what? It was worth it.
Yeah, it was.
It was worth it.
It was.
How are you feeling now? Was there any side effects after the transfusion? Are you feeling any differently than you prior to the surgery?
There wasn't any side effects.
No.
There wasn't, because they told me everything before I went into it.
So you were aware?
Yes, I was aware.
And
but once in a while, I feel a little pinch, a little pain at my back.
For a young woman like you, I'm sure you must have been terrified. You know, what could happen? I mean, I'm sure you don't have children yet, or you're not married. You know, I'm sure you had fears and concerns.
Yeah. When they told me all these things, I was much concerned about it, and then I asked the doctor that will I be able to, when I get pregnant in the future, is it going to have any effect on me? Okay. But they said no, it wouldn't. But the most important thing is I shouldn't try to get pregnant now.
Okay.
Because it's actually on your hip that they did your lower back.
Right.
That they actually did the surgery. So you have to take things easy now. But if I'm planning to get pregnant soon, I should let them know.
Okay. Okay. You were brave. Thank you. You know, and the platform has been given to you. You know, what advice would you give to anyone in your situation who can possibly save a sibling? What advice would you give them? Encouragement would you give them?
I will tell them that when they have the opportunity, they shouldn't be scared.
Okay.
They shouldn't be scared. They should do it wholeheartedly. I'll say there's always a joy in saving a life.
Amen. Yeah.
I haven't actually told my brother this thing, but when he spoke about the transplant and they said there wasn't a donor, I wasn't scared. Within me, I felt that I knew I was a match.
Wow.
Trust me, I knew I was. So when they told me that, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't all that surprised at all. But I would say my greatest challenge throughout this transplant was when the doctor told me I can't put on my heels for at least a year.
Really?
Yeah.
You can't wear high heels.
It can have a negative effect on me in the
lower
future.
back too, yeah.
But I tried my best not to put on heels, but sometimes I'm tempted to do it.
I'm sure you have fully recovered. So right now, everything is fine. It's been like a year now, over a year. You're back to yourself. You know, no side effects yet, nothing. We thank God, you know. And we need more people to talk about sickle cell. It's affecting so many people from the continent, you know. So I'm glad that we had this opportunity to talk. Maybe someone is at home right now watching, listening to this. It's motivating them, it's encouraging them. Mr. Africa, you have a lot of work to do now. You know, you have a lot of work to do, but the platform has been provided for you. You want to be an advocate? Here's your platform. I thank you for being so bold. Thank you for coming here and sitting down and sharing your story. You know, now you're even closer. I'm sure you were closer before, but now you're even closer now. So thank you so much for coming today. Everyone, we thank you so much for tuning in. And again, We thank our viewers for coming today. We thank everyone, all our sponsors. Until we meet again, God bless.